All right, this is Basketball Infinite, and welcome to the 2003 offseason of the Michael Jordan series. And the Denver Nuggets, led by Dirk, won a surprising ring. No huge retirements, although Chris Mullin did retire a few years after he did in real life, and David Robinson retires the year he does in real life. All right, this is probably the biggest draft of this series because it's the 2003 draft. That Dallas pick will be going to Dallas because that was a real life trade. I'm going to give them to the Mavs. So this determines who gets LeBron. He will not be going to the Clippers to team up with Powell. Will he be going to the Phoenix Suns to team up with Penny Hardaway? No, he will not. Now we've got Portland, who is coming off, oh my goodness. So they made a rule change where it's a top 2 lottery. So that means Portland will be in the top 2 picks. You will not be going to the Nets to team up with Marbury. And oh my goodness, there it is. Wow. It is going to be the Blazers or the Knicks. Both teams who have won a championship in recent years in this sim. The Knicks won the 2000 championship before MJ came in the league. And Portland swept us in 2002. So this is crazy. He's going to a pretty good situation to start his career. The Pelicans get 4. They've got Gilbert Arenas and Amari Stoudemire. And then with the 3rd pick, the Warriors strike out. But they do get the 3rd pick still, so they could get someone like Carmelo or Bosh. Will LeBron be going to the Knicks or Portland? It's going to be Portland. Wow. The Portland Trailblazers, who had a .09 or .9 chance at getting LeBron, gets LeBron unless they don't draft him, which they do. So LeBron James is a Portland Trailblazer to start his career. And the Knicks are going to pick Dwayne Wade. So instead of going into years of mediocrity, they've got Dwayne Wade now. And then the Warriors pick Carmelo. The Pelicans could get Bosh, but they're going to pick Darko. It's a little bit surprising. But then the Raptors, who actually got Bosh in real life, end up getting him here. Kirk Heinrich to the Jazz at 6. Josh Howard goes to Cleveland at 7. And then we're just going to sim to the end and look at the rest of these picks. David West to the Nets. Mo Williams to the Hawks. Barbosa to the Magic. TJ Ford. Jose Calderon to the Pacers. He ends up being pretty good in these sims, so I think that's a good pick for the Pacers. You're seeing some of these other picks here. Boris Diaw to the Wizards. And then the Pistons, who we lost to in last year's playoffs, make an amazing pick in Kyle Korver. That's a really good fit for them. And we're just going to go through the rest of this first round. Nothing too crazy. Luke Walton to the Lakers again. That's interesting. Didn't even know that when I was recording it. All right, we're in free agency. And guys, here's Jason Kidd. And this is a guy who was stuck on the Suns. They didn't have too much success. And he's out of there. He's a perfect system match for us. We also have Steve Francis. And then we have Gary Payton. No offers currently yet. But then Elton Brand does not want to come to the Bulls. And it looks like he might be going to team up with Kobe and Shaq. So this is turning out to be a really interesting 2003-2004 season. You see Karolinko's a free agent, but our CPU wants to sign Jalen Rose to 4 years, $145 million. I'm not doing that. I'm going to offer Jason Kidd. I am going to offer him a big, huge deal, and we are the favorites to get him. 4 years, $160 million, and then I'm going to offer Alonzo Mourning too, because we just got destroyed in the paint in last year's playoffs, and we need a sitter. I don't know how this is going to work, but we're going to make it work. So Jason Kidd and Alonzo Mourning both decide to join us, and this is huge. We got 2 veteran studs. I give Karolinko a deal. I don't know how we're even going to afford him, but we're going to somehow. So we've got Jalen Rose, Jason Kidd, Alonzo Mourning, and Karolinko. The CPU wants us to not take on Mourning, and I don't take on Jalen Rose. I think that's ridiculous. It says it would put us over the salary cap, so we do get Kidd and Karolinko. But I don't know, 2K doing 2K things, I decided to go offer him the same contract, and it allows it to go through. So we get Kidd, Mourning, and Karolinko. And then I check our roster, and I don't know if it glitched. I don't know if no one had offered him during the first 3-day period, but we were somehow able to keep Karolinko on his expiring 1-year rookie contract, which means that gives us a lot of flexibility. I also offered Jerome Williams, who played great against us in the playoffs a few years ago. I think he'd be good big man depth. We've got some surprising signings. Richard Hamilton to the Hornets to team up with Baron Davis and Tracy McGrady. Reggie Miller leaves for the Timberwolves. And nothing else too crazy. I also signed Rabaka for some big man depth. He played good against us in the playoffs a few years ago when we were playing the Knicks. And now you're looking at our roster, and I am liking what I see. I think that we are set up for championship contention. We're going to go through the other rosters. The Cavs are led by Ilgauskas, who was first-team All-NBA. Celtics with Paul Pierce, Gary Payton, and Anton Walker, with Gerald Wallace, too. They've got a nice core going there. The Clippers have Odom, Pau Gasol, Jamal Crawford. The Grizzlies still have Sharif Abdur-Rahim and Mike Bibby, and Andre Miller also went to the Grizzlies. The Hawks are led by Richard Jefferson, and the Heat have Vince Carter, Steve Francis, and Jamal Crawford. And you see what I mentioned earlier, the Hornets have T-Mac and Baron Davis and Richard Hamilton. This Jazz team looks like they are struggling. And keep in mind, we also get their 2004 unprotected first-round pick because for some reason they decided it would be a great idea to trade their 04 and 05 unprotected first-round picks for Jelani McCoy, who did end up as second for most improved player, but I can't believe they did that. It seems that they are struggling in the post-Malone Stockton era. So Manu Ginobili is coming to the league, and he is teaming up with Kenyon Martin, along with Kwame Brown. The Mavs have Steve Nash. The Nets have Stephon Marbury. The Nuggets with Dirk and some nice depth, and they are the surprising 2003 NBA champions. Moving along, we've got the Pacers, who are now led by Corey Maggette and Al Harrington. The Pelicans have Gilbert, Amari Stoudemire, and Larry Hughes. Nice little three core there. James Posey, he leaves the Bulls for the Pistons, our rivals. And they also have Grant Hill and Jerry Stackhouse still, and Juwan Howard also leaves the Wizards for the Pistons. The Raptors have Tony Parker, Yao Ming, and Chris Bosh, along with Wally Zerbiak. I don't know if they're going to have success next year, but they're pretty set up for the future, it looks like. So Jalen Rose ends up signing with the Rockets to team up with Coutinho Mobley. The Spurs have Tim Duncan, Allen Houston, and Steven Jackson. The Suns have Penny Hardaway and Jason Richardson. Nothing too crazy going on there. The Sonics are led by Vin Baker, Brent Barry, and Rashard Lewis. The T-Wolves have Kevin Garnett, Anton Jameson, and Reggie Miller. And look at this. The Blazers are starting off strong with Rasheed Wallace and LeBron James, along with the young and improving Jermaine O'Neal, with Damon Stoudemire and Bonzi Wells. They could be dangerous. The Warriors have Carmelo Anthony and Joe Johnson, along with not too strong of a team other than that. So the Wizards lost Richard Hamilton, but they gained Sean Marion. The Sixers have Allen Iverson and Ron Artest, who signed with the Sixers. And then the Bucks are led by Ray Allen and also Latrell Sprewell, who signed with the Bucks. Alright, so we improved Jordan's shot. His three-pointer has gone up from the 50s to a now 74 since he started his career. And then we're also going to improve Jason Kidd's perimeter shooting. Now you see this draft. That Grizzlies pick will be going to the Warriors. That was a real-life trade. And before we end this video, we're going to look at the top 50 players. Iverson, Duncan, Michael Jordan's up to 3. Kobe, Shaq, Grant Hill, KG7. Chris Webber, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen round out the top 10. We've got Dirk, Starbury, Jason Kidd, Vince Carter at 14, although that's just because he's injured. Steve Francis, Manu Ginobili, Tracy McGrady, Steve Nash, Allen Houston, Mourning. So we have 3 of the top 20 players in the league. And then going through, we've got Baron Davis, Elton Brand at 22, who's now playing for the Lakers. Jalen Rose at 23, Rasheed Wallace, and then Andre Karolinko, along with Jerry Stackhouse. LeBron James already in the top 30 to start his career at just 18 years old. The Grizzlies have 2 top 30 players in Bibby and Sharif. And then Quincy McMillan is one of those few random generated players. He was probably undrafted a few years ago. Yao Ming's improving. Penny Hardaway's still playing pretty steady in the later stage of his career. And then we're just going to round out the top 50 here. Pau Gasol's in there. Corey Maggetti's in there. And then at number 50, we have the 38-year-old Reggie Miller, who left the Pacers for the Timberwolves. So, I'm excited to see what we can do in the 2004 season. The landscape of the league has changed. MJ is now going up against players such as LeBron and Wade and Carmelo. I'm excited to see what happens. Tune in until next time.